to advise on the product market fit is to realize that it is an ongoing iterative process. That's the most important part of it. And let me just illustrate it through some examples from Vizury's own journey. So when we started off with a hypothesis that there can be value that can be created at the intersection of data, technology, and marketing, right? And that's where we found value. And I think that's a good starting point. We didn't create any product around it. We said something around this, there is value that can be created. So, and we went ahead and created 2 or 3 prototypes, both on PowerPoint and also in terms of some code that we wrote, to essentially check if something like this actually creates value. So one of the first examples or experiments that I remember is we went ahead, spent about 10,000 rupees, bought some media on the hinduonline.com and plugged in our prototypes at the back end and started testing. So our hypothesis was the customer response to ads increases if you do 1, 2, or 3, right? So we tried to do 1, 2, or 3 at the back end with some dummy advertisers, or by spending about 10,000 rupees to see if there was actually value that was getting created. So that was sort of the first part. The second part is once we saw that it was actually 2 out of 1, 2, and 3 that was actually creating value. Once we tested prototype 1, prototype 2, prototype 3 that I just mentioned before, what we found was prototype 2 was actually the one that was actually creating value in terms of being able to get better response from the advertisements. So we took that prototype, we built a pitch around it, and then we took it to some of the clients. When we took it to some of the clients, what we found was actually what they expected in terms of the solution was 2.2, right? It was not actually prototype 2. So then we came back and built out 2.2, and then we kind of we put it on 2 clients. So I still remember Yahoo Small Business was one of our very, very early clients that accepted the version 2.2 of the prototype that we had, the business model that we built around it. And then we deployed it out there. The next step for us was to say, wow, if Yahoo Small Business is accepting it, why not take it to other companies? And then we took it to companies like ClearTrip, Naukri.com, and Sharekhan, and some of those companies, and said, here is a prototype that we have. Yahoo Small Business is working with us. Would you be interested in working with us as well? And then they came back with their own feedback, which made us develop version 2.4. So now we started off with prototype 1, prototype 2, prototype 3, two prototypes were chucked out. Now we said prototype 2 is what makes sense, and then prototype 2.2 was working on one, prototype 2.4 was working on another. Now the question in front of us was, this seems to be going somewhere, but what is our product? What is our proposition? Right? Now that's where we started collating the feedback from all the clients, started seeing the impact of all the different versions of the prototype that we had, and then we said, well, this is the final, I'll call it, this is the sort of proposition that we want to take to the market, and 2 is, this is the business model around it that we want to take to, and 3 is, this is the vertical that we want to focus on. This is the section of the market we want to focus on, because I believe that's where I'll be able to make the maximum impact. So this whole process took us about 12 months to be able to baseline it, right from hypothesizing to building prototypes to testing them out to taking them to clients, reiterating on them, and then baselining what is my proposition, what is my business model, and who are the verticals I'm trying to go after. So that was our journey. When you're going through this journey, there is always this urge, when you see something working, there's always this urge to put more people behind it, more engineers behind it, more sales guys behind it, and scale it up immediately, right? And this is a classic mistake that many companies do, which leads to their downfall, wherein they scale up prematurely. So that's a judgmental call. Unfortunately, there isn't a right or a wrong answer there. That's a turn that kind of entrepreneurs need to be specifically aware about. They need to be kind of cautious about, so that they don't take that wrong turn and head off in an entirely different direction.